Well, it is 2024 and this is our first video for the year. And today I am going to do a slumped butterfly tray. And so I found these forms a long time ago, probably, I don't know, 15 years ago, $2.88 at Walmart. So I always keep my eyes out for an interesting form. And some of the things I look for is I want a not flat rim, but something that comes up a little bit. It doesn't have to come up this high, but it does have to come up some. Otherwise, it just falls and warps. So this is what we're going to do today. And let's get started. So if you watched my videos before, you know I use WD-40. I'm thinking about moving away from WD-40 because I really don't like using a petroleum product. So I'm going to try like vegetable oil eventually. But right now, today, since I didn't bring it with me from home, we're still using WD-40. So let me cut my clay. And of course, this is just a guess from having done this tray 1,000,001 times. So that's probably too much. Let's cut a little off. So I'm going to start with about this much right off the block. And we will see if that's enough or not. And I've already squirted the WD-40 on my Formica countertop. And what I'm doing now is I'm just, instead of using my hands to spread out the oil, I'm using the clay. And I'm going to flip it over. Oh, right. So let's get the rolling pin. So here we go. So I usually start out, well, first of all, let me talk about my sticks. I have sticks here on both sides of my clay, and they are about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit more thick. And you don't put those beyond the width of your rolling pin. And this is a very big rolling pin. And that prevents me from getting any area too thin. So that is always there. And I'm thinking I went too short on this, so we will see. All right, so when I bang the clay down, the particles in the clay are all going woo all over the place. When you start rolling your clay, then the particles start taking that shape. And you want all your particles in your clay to be aligned. So first of all, I've got to get this clay wide enough for a butterfly. So you want to roll and you want to flip and roll some more and then measure. I really think I don't have enough here, but we will see. Yeah, okay, well, we might. All right, so I still need to go a bit wider. And I like using the rolling pin rather than the slab roller. And yes, I do have a slab roller. I just like the rolling pin better. And the reason why is because I can shape the clay better. I can make this side wider and this side thinner as the butterfly is shaped that way. So, okay. All right. So now I'm going to turn it around the other way because I've got to get it longer, and I want to make sure I have WD-40 everywhere. Okay, so now let's get the particles going the direction we want. All right. And the reason you want to flip is because you want to avoid warping. And if I've got the rolling pin going like this, the clay is kind of taking this curved shape. And so you want to flip it to counteract that. And sometimes I get a little too wide for my sticks, and so I just kind of go back and forth like that. And then sometimes I have to fudge a little bit if I don't have enough clay, like today, and maybe go slightly thinner. But we are, super duper close. Okay, so I just need to get a little excess clay out of this one spot, and I'm going to start just pushing it out a little bit. trying to keep it even. Okay, let's see what we have now. Ooh, looking good. All right, so we want a little excess around our butterfly because these little edges will crack, and if you can clear up to the edge, it's going to crack into your piece. So you don't want that to happen. Okay, here we go. Butterfly, piece, scoop with 2 arms, lay it, and you might have to reposition it. And I just kind of feel around and see if I've got it pretty even. This spot here is a little, needs to scoot a little. All right, and then this butterfly is a little deeper for a slump piece, especially this middle section right here. And so I'd like to compress the clay in a little bit if I can. All right, let me move this back over. Let's get our sponge. And we slowly start forming the clay around all the edges. So this takes a little while, and you just kind of take your time. And I'm not going to go completely down all the way at first. I'm just slowly getting the basic shape of it. And I'm pushing in with this hand because I want to try to use some of that clay because it's going to get thin if I do not. All right, let's get our last wing in here. So I find that slumping is one of the easiest ways to make big forms and to have them turn out really, really nice. So a lot of times when I hire new people to work for me, one of the first things I get them going on is slumping. Okay, so here we go. We're going to finish up this form and compress it in and make sure we get the shape just right. It's not that you don't have to have some experience with clay, because it is good that you do in order to slump, because you really want to know the qualities of what clay will do and not do for you. All right, so that's looking pretty good. And it's all down in its little slots. And I think I got an air pocket right there. Okay. All right, so let's take a look before I cut. So there it is before I cut it. And next I get my needle tool. All right. That's not a needle tool. All right. Needle tool. There you go. Looks like a needle. All right. So I'm going to keep my needle tool as vertical as I can. And you want to take this kind of slow. And all you're doing is going against the edge of your form. And the reason I say go kind of slow is because I have cut into the piece because I've accidentally moved my needle tool. And then I have to repair it. And it's kind of hard to repair and make sure that it looks good and you don't have a place that's going to crack later on. So if you just take your time instead of going through quickly, you get a nice cut all the way around. All right, and there's the excess. So I have a pug mill, and this will go to the pug mill and get reused. We just don't waste any of our clay, especially now that it's getting more and more expensive with chemicals becoming more and more difficult to get. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to do an initial cleanup of the edges. I say initial because once this piece stiffens up to leather hard and I get it out of its form, I go around all these edges again and really clean them up and make them look nice. But this just is the beginning step of that process. So there we go. And I'm feeling pretty good about that. So I'm not too worried about the stroke marks from my sponge. They, my glazes are, take care of that, and it doesn't really show up. So here it is. First slump piece in 2024. It's our butterfly tray, and I will be showing you the finished piece shortly. I already have some photographs of this piece. I'm mostly doing this in my mist glaze only, and I'm doing it in crystalline. And crystalline, you have to use white clay body because crystalline only wants to work with white. So that is our project for today. Hope you enjoyed that, and Happy New Year. This is Sue with Salvaterra Pottery. We'll see you again, my friends.